Alright, so adding on to the last bit, I went back and watched a little bit of the video to see, where it left off and where I picked up. And I noticed that I didn't actually show you, because I didn't notice where it left off, that, how I did all this. Oh, oops. Okay, going back to this so that I can show you generally. Alright, you don't really... Alright, let me give you the gist of what I had said prior to that. So basically, you kind of want to go along the marking you'd originally made. So I figured I'd kind of like combine that. I didn't want to like do this and like have it stick out all randomly and just be weird looking like this, because that doesn't even like flow right. But see, it kind of goes well like this, just because it kind of flows along the edge of this. See? And it doesn't, like, it's kind of rounded, and just more matches that than just make stripes, man. But so yeah, basically I just kind of worked around that. And regarding the color I chose, I just kind of darkened this color right here because I just wanted it to be generally darker. I didn't want it to be like too much darker, but I wanted it to be dark enough for me to be able to go bucket without it, coloring everything like that. See, because that colored that too. Yeah, I think I explained under markings and why you should pick a color that's close to it so it doesn't overpower it and stuff, but yeah, obviously that's gonna like overpower everything. Just because all that kind of peaks. I think this is, I don't know. Anyways, usually I pick something that's a little darker that I can actually use the bucket tool on without it all merging into one giant thing. I hate that. Generally you want to do that. I think I might have accidentally done it, not dark enough. Like that. Because sometimes it just doesn't look like anything's there and it makes it kind of empty looking. But at the same time, I think that one's like this color is just barely outside that. And, close enough for it to be able to merge like that. But yeah, you generally want something just a little darker than that for your extra marking bit. You can also use a slightly different color. Like I would choose for this, when you're going to pick another color, and I didn't explain this before, so it's good that I'm redoing it now. When you go to pick another color, you do want to get something that's more saturated as well as darker, because you want it to be more different. See, that, I don't think I saturated it quite enough. So I probably would have wanted to saturate it a little more. Because as you can see, this was like in the generally desaturated zone. Not unsaturated, what the heck. See, I didn't saturate that enough when I'd done it originally. So it probably should have looked more like that. But, usually you want to do that. I'll leave it there for reference. But so yeah, I think that's all I missed when I went back and did that. Quick added thing, when you're going through and doing markings, I do suggest playing around with various markings that you know and can remember in your head. Like general categories. Like when you're first going into it, you could play around with that and see what it goes and does. You could just do like a line along the back. I'm going to use red because you can see that better. Line along the back. You could do like that and just color in that area. Yeah, you could color in the whole freaking leg. I would suggest not making like too many monochromatic palettes. I would kind of edit the colors to make sure that they're not perfectly monochromatic, since just straight up black and white can look really weird. Not so much weird as like bland, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want just that. it doesn't really look so good on a character usually. I mean, some people can totally pull it off, but a lot of people can't, and it just kind of doesn't look right. It looks empty. And that's why you want to usually fill those kinds of characters up. I really like having those characters as kind of like doodle characters, where they're kind of, like, I would make a white character, and then put a bunch of, like, little black markings all over it, like X's, dots, just little scribbles. That was gonna be somewhat of a face. Ignore me. Anyways, no, please don't ignore me. You're watching my video. Anyways, jeez. Okay, so I would kind of just put a bunch of doodles over there that you can change. With some general markings that stay, like a line along the back, or socks, you know? Okay, well, besides the monochromatic characters, I don't recommend monochrome. Doesn't usually look great. I would use various shades of gray if you're gonna go kind of black and white like that. But I don't recommend just like straight up black and white. I would definitely use some in between colors and added kind of colors. But so yeah, I guess that's all I've got to say for it. I would look at other characters and palettes on the internet for inspiration. And if you see like a character that's color scheme is really cool, you could like try and make something based on that. Do not base it off the character and the color scheme, because then you'll probably end up accidentally copying the character, which you don't want. So I would recommend just like kind of taking a quick glance at one or the other, and then kind of just making your own thing. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you get me? Maybe not, maybe. I don't know. Don't steal characters. But yeah, it's perfectly okay to take inspiration from other people's characters. But only inspiration. Don't, like, blatantly copy it. It's kind of a thin line, especially amongst, like, various furry artists. Some people can get just really offended over nothing. But yeah. Yeah. So I just recommend just, playing with whatever you think is cool. I cannot very well pull off like a red and blue color scheme. I don't know why I selected orange. Anyways, I can't very well pull off a red and blue color scheme because I just don't have this, I guess, skill set for it. Like, honestly, I know a lot of people who could, like, very easily, but I am not one of those people. There's not really a reason for it. I just, because I guess I always choose the wrong shades, which is why when you're going through, the final resulting palette is kind of important. So, if you're doing, like, an important character design, I would totally recommend, like, doing something like putting each marking that's a certain color on its own layer. You know what I mean? Like, this undermarking color that I used, it would go on its own layer. So, like, that, it'd all be on its own layer. Because I would want to be able to change the color easily if I needed to. And so, yeah, that's what I would do for something, like, severely important. But a lot of times it can come in handy to just have them all together, like I did for this one. That way you can just, edit as you go, and you don't have to keep switching layers. So I guess it all depends on what's easiest for you. And whether or not, like, it's extremely important or not, I guess. But for the most part, have fun. Do not do anything that stresses you out. If drawing a certain marking, or a certain amount of markings on a character bothers you or stresses you out, it's probably going to do the same for whoever is going to own it after. Whether it's like an adopt or just a character you want to actually own. If the markings trouble you, it's probably not a really decent, like, character. It might look good, it might look awesome, but, like, I don't think anyone's going to accept commissions of that. Sorry, wiped something off the screen. Anyways, but so yeah. Don't put it too simple. Try and fill it up a good bit, but don't like overload it either. You don't want to overload it, and you don't want to overload yourself. Do not worry about character designs so much, because the more worried you are, the more mistakes you'll make. So, just chillax, experiment, have fun. That is definitely the most important part. Just have fun. Alright, and that concludes this little whatever this is. I hope you found it useful, and my additional information actually came in handy, because I took 10 minutes to record this, and, like 16 minutes to record the rest of it. So that's about 26 minutes total of recording. I don't even know if I have enough space for all of this. My tablet's going to kill me. Alright, that's all. Later.